Transportation has become one of the biggest problems for all cities now. With the COVID-19 pandemic and the consequence of social distancing, mass transportation has actually become a major barrier for students and workers who depend on transportation to return to their daily routines comfortably and safely. To minimize transmission, the government made a policy in the form of PSBB or large-scale social restrictions. However, this has a major impact on the income of workers working in the transportation sector. With the PSBB policy in this pandemic, the movement of the people is reduced so that there is a decrease in income. If the income of workers decreases, it will also have an impact on the other fields, such as the decline in the trade sector due to the lack of buyers' income will decrease. If income in fields that can improve the economy decrease, it will greatly hamper the country's economy. But behind this, there are people who can take advantage of each other, such as the Gojek application with its features. For example, GoMart, GoShop, GoSan, which help the community, especially when it is exaggerated with the promo features. People will be happy to buy it. If this persists, it is possible that economic growth will not be actually second or experience obstacles.
There are many things that affect business in time like this. One of the reasons is consumer rarely go out, only shop as needed, and make various transactions via online. In addition, social restriction also cause various business activities to be carried out remotely. So many workers have to work from home. UMKM also appear to have been affected by the coronavirus. Currently, UMKM actors are starting to face various kinds of business difficulties since the COVID-19 attack. The number of UMKM affected by the pandemic is 87.5% of all business operating throughout Indonesia. From this jumlah, around 93.2% of them were negatively affected on the sales side. However, Bank Indonesia revealed that there were 12.5% of respondents who were not affected by the economic impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. And even 27.6% of them showed an increase in sales. Of the total 6 UMKM sector, only commodity business and agriculture still grew by 16.7% in December 2020. Meanwhile, the manufacturing industry grew by 1.5%, construction fell 17.9%, trade fell 3.2%, real estate rose 13%, and public service increased 2%. And next, sector.
The impact of the pandemic on export and import in Indonesia. International trade is a trade activity that occurs between two different countries. Third, export and import activity, barter, cross-border package deals, and consignment in accordance with the agreement that have been determined by two countries, which are driven by the development and progress of science and technology. The difference in natural resources in each country, the freedom of the world economy, the need of each country, and the ability or inability of the country to be able to product its own needs. Indonesia has joined the WTO World Trade Organization since 1994 with the aim of increasing economic value, growing the national economy, and improving the welfare of the nation. Indonesia international trade continue to fluctuate, and beside on validate data, Indonesia trade balance in January 2020 experienced a deficit uh, 800 16 million US dollar due to Indonesia export balance of uh, 13 and 4 billion dollar, lower than its import balance of 14 and 2 billion dollars. The COVID-19 pandemic has had a major impact on Indonesian international trade and the global economy. As a result of the pandemic, there have been major changes in world trade patterns, such as the existence of a lockdown system implemented by several countries. The affects the time and cost required for shipping goods. The implementation of health protocol which result in increased logistic delivery costs. The prohibitions of export and import of certain commodities such as food and health, disruption to supply and demand, as well as change in the global supply chain center from several countries such as China, Germany, and the United States. China is itself is the trending partner in establishing international trade relation with Indonesia. Indonesia import goods from China by 26% and export goods to China by 60.7%. As a result of the pandemic, there are international trade barrier with China, especially product import from China, such as various food needs. For example, garlic, which is almost 100% imported directly from China, and sugar. As a result, this import barrier, the price of garlic and sugar in Indonesia also due to commodity shortage caused by instability and supply imbalance. In Indonesia, there was also a decline in income in various industry sector, and a decrease in income from the tech sector. However, if, even so, Indonesia is still able to survive, according to data published by the Minister of Finance. State revenue at the end of Q1 2020 grew by 7.75% percent compared to revenue in February 2020, which was means 0.5%. However, economic tension persists because the pandemic is not over yet, and Indonesia must be able to maintain its safe position. Therefore, the WTO and find solutions that can help its country overcome international trade defluction, defluction during the pandemic, such as reducing tariff in international trade, maximizing the use of digital technology and results in international trade. Thank you.
The spread of the COVID-19 pandemic has forced governments in Asia and the Pacific region to implement large-scale regional and social lockdown policies. As a consequence, this policy has disrupted economic and social activity, which in turn has an impact on the overall economy, including disruption in the labor market and a decrease in the level of income of work throughout the region. Labor policies during the COVID-19 pandemic in countries in the Asia and Pacific region support the business sector or employers, workers, and job creation. These measures also include financial support that some institutions and authorities support, household support, and workers carry out a pandemic, as well as measures taken by authorities to help workers who have lost their job in business, provide support to job seekers, or provide emergency work. For Indonesia, the government has taken the right step in mitigating the impact of the pandemic on the labor sector. These efforts are carried out through the provision of economic stimulus packages for the business world, income tax incentives for workers, social safety net stroke, social assistance program for formal and informal workers, the pre-employment card program, expanding labor-intensive industry programs, and protection for Indonesian migrant workers. The government also carried out reforms in the labor sector, took the employee creation law by making it easier from investment on to enter, but also providing quarantines for the protection and improvement of wealth for workers. The government also focused on developing the quality of human resource as one of the priorities of the labor sector.
Economic activity in the tourism sector during the COVID-19 pandemic. First, World Tourism in COVID-19 pandemic. The United Nations World Tourism Organization on March 2020 have announced that the impact of COVID-19 pandemic will be felt around the world on tourism sector. On responding the COVID-19, the United Nations World Tourism Organization have changed the international tourist growth prospect that decreased in the amount of 1% to 3%. These things affected on the decrease of the income or loss about 30 billion US dollar to 50 billion US dollar that caused most of companies that move on tourism sector bankrupt. Before the appearance of the COVID-19 pandemic, the international tourists were estimated increased about 3 to 4%. Asia and Pacific were the most affected area from COVID-19 pandemic, with the decrease of tourists that is estimated between 9 to 12%. Second, tourism at Indonesia in COVID-19 pandemic. Based on data from the Central Statistic Agency, it was recorded that foreign tourists who come to Indonesia in early 2020 have decreased. Foreign tourist visit in January 2020 reached 1 million visits. This figure has reached
7% when compared to the number of tourist visits in December 2019 was 1 million visits. The foreign tourist visit decrease that occurred into Indonesia are caused by the increasingly widespread spread of COVID-19 which occurred in the last week of January 2020. This can be seen from the foreign tourist data that come through the air and trains airport. The decline that occurred through the airport in January 2020 by 5% when compared to visit in December 2019. The pandemic condition that occurred in Indonesia made the industry in the tourism sector, especially in Bali, entering the low season. The decrease in visits that occurred due to imposed a temporary closure on direct flights to and from China since February 2020. This affect tourism activities such as some hotels which began to close due to a lack of hotel rooms service user. The occupancy rate star hotel rooms in Bali fell from 45% in February 2020 to 25% in March 2020. The decline that occurred in the tourism sector, weather-related business, also experienced a very drastic decline. That's all from me. Thank you for attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.